to the party. Roll up to the lit. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the lit. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the
Good evening. We are live. Yes, it is earlier than what I said. We'll probably go live tonight, but I am just doing a test because there was a lot of people saying that we're outside the UK, that 7 o'clock at night Celtic Park time was too late for them. So it is just a half-hour news update, and there is breaking news this evening with regards to Celtic transfers. It's speculation again. I'm really not too enamoured with this one. If it was to come true, I do think it is just another one that, I don't think it will happen. If it does happen, we'll see. But let's get some hellos and hails. First of all, Kevin, who's in, hail. Robert, who's in, and Graham, who's in also. So let's get to the Celtic news. There is breaking news this afternoon that Celtic, dog hair in my mouth, are after James McAtee from Manchester City. The Celtic are one of several clubs interested in the 20-year-old midfield player. It is attracting attention from a number of Premier League clubs also. The 20-year-old enjoyed successful loan spell at Sheffield United last season, but the midfielder may be looking to move on as its game time is hard to come at Manchester City. Sheffield United, he was at last season, but I don't know. Is it the type of player that we should be looking to bring in? It has been said that City are reluctant to let the talented midfield player leave, but they know that Celtic, Sociedad, and Wolves would be willing to take him. There are several clubs that are looking to maybe even purchase him and make the move permanent, and Celtic are suggested that they are one of them. And I don't know. We can talk about, is it really that type of midfield player that we want? A 20-year-old coming in that's just another starlet? Tell me what you think in the comments. I don't know. I think that's maybe just a speculative one, that one that's been released this evening. There is a few publications running with that as we speak. Martin says, hail. Looking forward to the show after a beautiful weekend. Paul says, hail. And James Dillon says, hail. I'm not expecting too many on this evening, as it was. I did say that we'd go on later on. If you haven't seen the video that I put up just about an hour and a half ago, the Kenny Miller interview video, make sure that you check that out after this live. You've probably seen it, the guys that are on here already. So with that being said, tell me what you think about James McAtee. Are Celtic just going to do us one over with the transfers in the next couple of weeks? Are they just going to get in a promising youngster from in the midfield, all from the City group? I think it's time that really, if we want to progress a bit further, we need to stop being just a feeder club for the City group. I know that we can get other players, but tell me what you think. Going by all accounts, he did have a good season last season, this player, but I don't know, he's not playing at the level that we're playing at. He's not played in Champions League, so I don't know. Tell me in the comments, what do you think? What do you think? James McAtee gets called the Silva. Yeah, I know that. The ex-Man City player. Is it the type of player, Lanky, that we really need in? Another prospect. We've got enough prospects at the club already, and especially in that age bracket, the 18 to 20 age bracket. And my thinking behind it is, and why should we bring in a player from Manchester City that's a starlet from Man City when we've got starlets that are there in our team already, on the periphery of our team, especially in the B team, that should be really given the chance. If we're going to be bringing players in, we need to be bringing players in that are going to make us better for the Champions League. They're going to be better or to a similar standard. They have to be better than what we've got already. We've got money to spend. Why aren't we spending it? Yep, James, that's my thoughts exactly. It's time to step away from the City Group nonsense. I think the only one that we really brought in was Paddy Roberts, and Brendan liked Paddy Roberts, but he never stayed at Celtic, so he never stayed at Celtic. He was young, but then what happened to his career? It's okay bringing these players in, and they never progress. What has happened to his career? Nothing. Lanky says that we need experience for the Champions League. He'll hail from Thailand. That's the whole reason that I've done this video a bit earlier, because people from Thailand and the likes of Australia and New Zealand and that were saying that the 7 o'clock one is just a bit late for them. So yeah, we need a keeper. Full stop. Paul Baird, don't really need them or better priorities, in my opinion. Yes, Paul, that's my thoughts exactly. I think we're getting linked with them purely for the fact that it is the City Group connection. James McAteer, he is highly touted as a 20-year-old midfield player that's going to do things. Man City don't really want to sell him because he is such a good prospect. So if they don't want to sell him, I don't think we should be taking him, especially when we've got players that could do better. Frimpong as well. Yeah, but we've got Frimpong. We got Frimpong for Man City, and we got him. He was under the radar because they weren't sure about his talent, and we managed to pick him up for 300 odd grand. So yeah, we got him from the City Group, but that's because I think it was Lennon at the time. Lenny had seen him in a game, and he went, I've got an eye for a player. He's a player that will do us a trick. And he wasn't really on the Man City radar, if you like, for going forward. So that's I think that's how we got him. Let's get on to some more of the comments. Is it just me, or do you think that Brendan is trying to trim Japanese players to get his players? Nope. I don't think that at all. I think Hatate will still come good. It's the first game of the season. He's picked the players that had performed the best during pre-season, and he said that. So yeah, I wouldn't think he's trying to trim the Japanese players, because at the end of the day, they're fantastic players, and he likes to work with fantastic players, and he'll like to see if he can improve them even more. Never mind selling Jota for 25 million. If we can prove the likes of Hatate and that for even more money, you're looking to sell them to a top European side. We should be able to shell out a few quid for players. We did 9 for Eddie, yep, and a few for Julian. That's it. I mean, we got Eddie Edward in for 9 million. We've got Julian in for 9 million. It's time that we started spending that kind of money to just give the experienced boys and the younger boys that are there, say, look, there is players that are coming in that are going to be of a good standard, and we really need it for the Champions League. You're right, says Gary. We need experience. And I'm sure Brendan will know that as well. We've got Nitcham as well. There's another player. Nitcham through it. Whatever happened to his career? Frimpong's been the only one at Celtic that's probably went on, because you can even that we've bought in players that we've bought in that have went on to. Is he actually? Is he moved yet, Frimpong? I don't think so, has he? Because if he moves, Celtic are going to get a big chunk of that money that comes from that. Dino says, "He'll follow. Big up as always. Korea's in the house, so that's Korea in the house and Thailand in the house. This is why we've done this one earlier. Don't like this City link. Yeah, me neither. Sammy, we didn't sell Sammy on for any money. Biota, Roberts, we didn't buy him. Dyer, Azani, they all come from the City Group. Yeah, and there's a number of players that were good, but how many of them did we buy, and how many did they sell on for more money? And this is you have to think about the way that the club is run. Anne said no to Paddy Roberts, and he's flying now. Aye, but what league is he flying in? What league is he flying in? Because it's certainly not a team that's in Europe. I know. Would you take Paddy Roberts back? Is Paddy Roberts better than what we've got at the club just now? I would suggest, and you have to think of the sell-on fee. So if you look at the way that the club's run and bringing in players, would he have been good value for money? Would Paddy Roberts have any kind of sell-on fee? And I don't think he probably would have. So you can understand why Anne said no, Paddy Roberts. And Rogers clearly likes Myra. He does that. DJ Singy is in the house. Evening, buddy. A tune. No tune talk tonight. No, it's all about Celtic. This evening, Celtic shouldn't need another team's cast-offs. I don't think it's really cast-offs. I think it's a player that is a fantastic prospect. And I mean, if we look at, we're putting out our prospects to other teams, so why should we bring in other teams' prospects to make them better? This is my thing about when we bring in a 20-year-old, when we're putting out players that we should really be bringing into our first team. We badly need a goalkeeper, left back, winger. Yet we know this already, but this evening we are talking about James McAtee. Some are willing to bid for him, others are willing to take him on loan. He's shown in pre-season that he can compete against the top sides, having scored against Bayern Munich in City's friendly 2-1 win last month. So, I mean, he has scored against Bayern Munich. He's shown that he can do it, but he is just a young lad, and that's the thing that's getting me. I think that bringing in young lads filling our teams, we do need a bit more experience. Anyway, we don't need any more midfield players. Players are crying out for a keeper. Hart is far too slow. Yep, he's playing in the Premiership, isn't he? He's playing for Sunderland. Well, there you go. And as you'll guess for last night, I have no inclination what goes on in the English Premier League. Man City are looking at Momento. See Brighton trying to get Rio. Do you think that Brighton will come in for Rio Hatate? Well, Celtic don't have to sell any more players. This is the thing. We don't have to. Financially, we don't have to sell players. It is, if we sell any more players, right, there'll be a complete. I'll go into complete meltdown. Never mind the Celtic wider family online. If we sell any more players this season, let's not even think about it. That's it. No, we can't criticize other leagues when everyone's pants. Yeah, I know. I had that conversation this morning with one of my mates, talking about the fact that Starfelt is leaving to go to Spain, and people were saying, a few of the guys were saying, look, he's kind of let himself down, and he's kind of, he's going, what is he going for? Just to be closer to his woman. And I said, that's the way you look at it. I think he's going to a better league. He's obviously going to a better league. He's going to play in Spain. He's going to go for more money. And there's a lot to be said. He's 28-year-old, so he's not going to get a big move. So you're better playing out the rest of your playing days in the sun. And it's a choice, right? If your missus is in Portugal, you've got a chance to go 3.5 hours up the road, and for your missus is playing football, you get somewhere in between. So you're both about an hour's drive away for work in the morning, and you've got the sunshine. Or you play in Scotland, you go up to Ross County, up to Dingwall, you go to Kilmarnock, you go to Perth. Big decisions. Go to Aberdeen. Oh, Aberdeen away. That ground with that wind of that North Sea. Decisions. I'm sure that you would all jump at the chance. I mean, everyone would give Jota a stick for going for the money, for going for the 200 grand. And he's getting talked about, he's getting spoke about being getting loaned out. So, Starfelt is going for one thing. Yeah, we'll know what Starfelt is going for, and I'm not going to say that on air. Rio's heads away so much for loyalty. Dempsey, that's the one I wanted. Rio's heads away so much for loyalty. I do believe that, Jamie. We'll wait to the end of the transfer window. Starfelt's under the thumb, not a chance. Speculate to accumulate. We haven't spent any money. This is the whole point. We haven't spent any money. We've spent 12 million. We're sitting with an abundance of cash in the bank. Stuart says, good afternoon, Baz. I was at the queue for a shop, and I felt like a Rangers fan because you're standing there waiting. Good luck to him. Starfelt he's on about. Doesn't come easy. So up the road, son, lol. Yes. Jota could have got turned up a certain big. Yep. And I was 10th in the queue. The luck, fingers in my ears, lol. Peter King. Hail Troops says Paul Emery. Right, if you have Hail Scott, right, if you have just joined us, the breaking news at the start of the live was the fact that Celtic have been linked with a Manchester City player who is facing a decision about his career at Manchester City. And the midfielder James McAtee's future has been called into question due to game time. He has been known as the so-called Salford Silva after the former City player David Silva is eager to build on his reputation that he got at the Championship side last season at Sheffield United. He had a really good season with them, but he's going to struggle for game time at Manchester City. So it has been suggested that Celtic could come in for the player. Do you think, tell me in the comments, do you think that we should be going for this type of player? Real will still be at Celtic come the end of the transfer window. Paul Baird has spoken. So that is it. Paul Baird has spoken, and he has said, I believe that Real will be there also. Purely for the fact that he said he's no intentions of going anywhere. He wants to prove himself at the highest level, and that'll be the Champions League. If he knows if he can do a trick again in the Champions League this year, he will get his big move, and he'll get a move to a team that's more likely to be in the Champions League, be it in England or in Europe. Sean says, hail, hail, Tim's. Ryan says, we need a goalkeeper. We've been through that. Helen, good evening to you. Hail, hail. And Ali John says, hail, hail, troop. 3 points. Ha. Hail, hail, troops. DJ saying, not surprised Brendan hasn't bought Vardy up. Vardy's, I don't think he'd be worth it for us, do you? Really? Rio will be away at the end of the month. Naomi says, hail, hail. Attack is going nowhere. Nowhere. Yep, he's going nowhere. Hail, hail, says Mick. He left for a women footballer. He was a big bomb scare, a big dumpling. Look, most guys that I know, right? If your missus can play football, she's a keeper. If your missus can play the decks, she's a double keeper, right? They've got the lifestyle that is going to be. I mean, you've seen that one with the two of them training on the beach, right? I see kids here playing football on the beach all the time. There's no any no ball signs games there's no grass because they'll play football on the beach. So having that opportunity to go and live in the sun, fair play to them. Fair play to them. We need a good defender. I think Celtic will go into the market for a defender now that. And what about Carroll's dentist? Come on. His dentist basically confirmed it to the world. What are Celtic playing at? You know, Celtic better have something up their sleeve this week, because if we let Starfell out and we don't make one signing this week, right? And the fact that his dentist confirmed it, his dentist puts on Instagram, good luck in Spain, with a picture of him in the dentist chair. Now, Brendan obviously knew on Saturday that he was leaving, but he was diplomatic about it. He was diplomatic and said, we'll see what happens. There might be other bids for him. There was no other bids going to come in. No other bids whatever. The guy wanted to move to Spain or Portugal. He got the closest club that he could to his missus. Fair play to him. And for the fact that his dentist has come out and said, ta-ta, lad, it's been nice knowing you. Your teeth are in great condition. Good luck in Spain. You know, so let's get back to the comments. I think Celtic should be going for a player in their budget if it only strengthens the team. What kind of budget, though? Because we're sitting with around about 40 million cash in the bank that could easily get in a decent player or two. Now, that could be a whole midfield player. Do we really need a whole midfield player? No, we need a keeper. Are we prepared to go out and evil bombs tennis? No, if you get a good one. Ali. Brendan confirmed he was going for personal reasons. Yes, we all know he was going for personal reasons. He was going to see his missus. You know, that was the personal reason. There was no death in the family or anything. He went to be next to his younger woman that plays football. Anyway, Starfelt, thanks for the 5 trophies. Thank you, Carol, for the 5 trophies. And you've got to remember, makes for me is like he's thrown his career out the window. How's he thrown his career out the window? Ask me this, because he's won everything at Celtic. He's won a treble, right? He's won a double at Celtic. He's played in the Champions League. He's played in Russia. And it's like, well, do you want to hang about Scotland for another year? And this is why I think the team across the road will suffer, because they don't have enough Scottish players in their team. Celtic have got a nice core still of Scottish players, and I think that's important to the club. And that's what will make Celtic successful for the next 2 or 3 seasons to come, because they have that core of Scottish players. When you take away, and Celtic's seen it in the past, years that weren't as successful, going away back. And when you lose that hardcore contingent of Scottish players in Celtic, you're not as good. You tend to lose something. If you lose players that don't really know what the club's about, you know what it's about, and that's the problems that they're going to have across the city. Not here to talk about them. We're talking about the fact that Celtic have been linked with a Manchester City player, James McAtee. I think personally it's a player that we shouldn't really be going after, because we'd only be getting him on loan, and unless we were getting him for silly cheap money, I don't think he is worth doing, because I think we've got 18 to 20 year olds that are in the club already that need the chance to perform and improve, and bringing in other young players is just going to knock them back a bit, and I think it could have an adverse effect on the club. Spot on about Scottish to the core. Yep. When you look at it, I mean, you've got a core of players. I mean, it might only be about 4 or 5, but the fact that they're in the team, they know what Celtic's about, they know what it means about the club, they know how important it is to win. They tell the new guys, how important it is. That's what's going to make us even more. The boy is love struck. Let him go. Yep, let him go. Right. Chris says, imagine we went over on the split up 2 weeks later. Well, Chris, I'm sorry to say, but I see the women that walk about down the beach here that are Spanish, and there's plenty more fish in the sea if that was to happen. So, I'm sure his heart wouldn't bleed too much. We need another centre back. We've got Kobayashi, Carter Vickers, Rocky, Scales, Welsh, Lowe should be given a shot over bringing in more defenders. Yes, I agree with that, but I still think that there's a chance that Scales might go out on loan. And if Scales goes out on loan, I think Welsh might, I don't know, if he doesn't think he's going to get game time, he's got a decision to make. He's got a big decision to make. And I still think that those are 2 players that might move before the end of the window. I hope Scales doesn't go, but when you look at the back 2 that we're going to have, you're really going to have Carter Vickers and Rocky, right? So then you need backup. Kobayashi is there as backup, and then you maybe keep Scales. So then, say Welsh leaves, we still need to bring in a player. We're still a bit short in those positions. We need to bring in someone of a similar standard to Rocky and Carter Vickers, and to be fair. But is it getting somebody in at that level? Are they going to play second fiddle? Never rated Starfelt, says Charlie. We're going to get pumped in Europe unless we sign a proven Champions League player. What is a proven Champions League player? And how much does a proven Champions League player cost in this day and age? Especially when you get some teams that come into the Champions League and they spend probably about 10 million. And what is this one? Oh, my name managed to get sneaked in. And how did you manage to get in? Ban and delete comments. So you're banned. The Sevconian is banned. I had enough of his nonsense last night. I can't even be bothered doing the kid on accent. So he is banned. Anyway, yes, Paul, I've seen that. My name has now been banned from the channel. So I'll see if he's... it's quite funny. And I just can't be bothered even doing the kid on accent tonight. He unsubscribed and then he resubscribed. Never mind. Anyway, we move on. Zombies obsessed to the back teeth. Yeah, they are that. They all had chances. How many chances more do we give them? Yes, they are. When you look at the guys at the back, they have all had chances. And how many more chances do you give them? How many more chances do you give Welsh, for instance? So I still think Roberts has an ace up his sleeve. No Sevco in paradise. Yep, there is no Sevco in paradise, hopefully. And I'm hoping that Rodgers has a couple of tricks up his sleeve. Because if Celtic, I mean, the fact that we've let the dentist confirm that Carroll is away, I think if we don't move that down a bit, so that's a bit better. If we don't make an announcement this week that there's a signing, I think we're going to start to get into panic stations as a fan base, purely for the. Yeah, I did, Sean. I blocked the zombie. We should have sent the zombies to Kelly Pie. Getting back to the whole transfer market as it stands, we need a goalkeeper. We're all in agreement with that. Bringing in James McAtee, I don't think would be a good bit of business. I think the reason being we have young players that we could bring in. We've got plenty cover in midfield. I think we could go out and get a better player that is more Champions League ready. Because certainly, who was it that said? Somebody said we need to bring in players that are Champions League ready. Is James McAtee Champions League ready? Nope, not a chance. Chill pill. All the Starfield haters will be begging him to come back if we aren't careful. Yes, it's true. And Ali Jones says the season has just started. One more chance, I say. One more chance for who? And you have to remember also, says Jamie, someone that's won a few times. Theo is a world-class defender and goalie. There you go. I think we should go for the Dutch lad, Javier, for centre-back. I think if that one was going to go, it's maybe time it is to go for that player. But I think there could be a scramble for him towards the end of the window. If he's going to take a... Right. There's all the talk, Thogden. Yep. Thogden, for Martin. Kieran Tierney, right? The Kieran Tierney one isn't going to... If he's going to take a pay cut, well, you have to say that Taylor hasn't been up to his best the last couple of games. So, yeah, he would probably come in and take Taylor's place right off him. Is he better than Bernabe? If you're just bringing him in on loan, that you bring him in on loan just for a season, does that then set back Bernabe? We should bring him on Bernabe to make him a better player. So, nah, I'm starting to edge away. I don't think the Kieran Tierney one will happen. And I don't think it'd be good business for Celtic, to be fair. We definitely need a goalkeeper and centre back. Chilbill says, I'm more worried about that we can't shift the deadwood yet. Sorrow, he is on his way out the building. Sorrow is on his way to France, but there's something dodgy going on about that deal. A few people were reporting today. There won't be any Tierney as part of Arteta's plans, he said. Yeah, that's it. KT is now third line in Arsenal. Pathetic, really. Arsenal got a big squad, and Arsenal are trying to win the English Premiership and do things in Europe. Right, that is it for this evening. I'm only doing a short live. I've got 3 minutes to go. Paul Laird says, we don't need any loan players. Nope. We certainly, that's that one there. Geez, the comments are jumping up. We certainly don't need any loan players. I don't think, with the money that Celtic have in the bank, I don't think that we need to bring in players on loan of any standard to the club. Definitely not. And definitely not a Man City player from the City group, because that is just false economy, and all we're doing is making some player better to go back to Man City. We really need to be running. Here we know, oh my God, this guy's got more channels than anything. He's subscribed under about 2 or 3 different names. He's now reckons that I'm scared of him. Let's get him on. You know my name, Running Fear Barry. Ha ha ha. We are the people. No, you aren't the people. And let's just hide that and click. We are the people. Scan there. Ban user and delete their comments. So he's obviously subscribed to the same name, and that's even worse. That's even worse. Imagine subscribing to a Celtic channel with a couple of YouTube. It's went up again. So anyway, thumbs up for Bad, says Alex. KT would be the best player if we could get him on loan. Right. With that being said, Charlie Angel, with Kieran's fitness over the last couple of seasons, would it still be a good bet? Would it be a good bet to get him in? So, Kelly Fear, no one's no name. Right. What about that mutant? Are we going back to the biscuit tin years? No, we're not going back to the biscuit tin years. But I do fear that we're kind of promised a level of signing towards the end of last season, and it hasn't really happened yet. So his fitness isn't the issue. It was the issue last season because he was injured at the beginning of the season, and his injuries during his Arsenal career is what's kind of held him back. We report though. Katie on loan. I don't think we avoid tax payments. That one's going to get the last comment of the day. We are on the half-hour mark. If you haven't checked out the video that I put up earlier with the one and only Kenny Miller, Kenny Miller's obviously been talking about the fact that pre-season he was talking about that Rangers were going to win the league. Rangers were going to win the league. Celtic were signing unknowns, and Celtic were a weaker team. A weaker team, he said. And then he's went on to Sky Today and said, wait a minute. Rangers have got some unknowns, so the league is wide open, and it's all going to come down to the game on the 3rd. So he's obviously anticipating that there's going to be a few penalty Rangers shouts between now and the Glasgow derby. Helen, you're going to get the last shout. Have a great evening. It's been fantastic. The big news is this evening that Celtic have been linked with a Man City player, and it's a Man City player that is called James McAtee. He is 20-year-old, and he is just a prospect. Do you think that we should be going for prospects? That's what I asked in the channel this evening. Tell me in the comments below this video if you're watching the replay. It's been absolutely fantastic, and I shall see you tomorrow morning with the Celtic news. Have a great day, Celtic.
Lit. Roll up to the